The grandfather clock in Eleanor Vance's sprawling Upper East Side apartment chimed 3, its resonant tones a familiar prelude to the delicate clinking of porcelain and the low hum of manufactured pleasantries. It was Tuesday, which meant it was time for tea. For the past decade, since her husband Richard had passed, these weekly gatherings had become Eleanor's reluctant ritual, a way to maintain the social architecture of a life she increasingly found hollow. Today, however, would be different. Today, there would be a fifth guest. Eleanor entered the kitchen, her silk kaftan whispering against the tiled floor. "Amina," she said, her voice gentle. "The cart is ready. But you won't be serving today." Amina turned, her brow furrowing slightly. "Ma'am?" "Today," Eleanor said, a flicker of mischief in her eyes, "you are a guest. You will be joining us for tea." Amina's hands stilled on the tea towel. She had endured the thinly veiled condescension of Mrs. Vance's friends for years. They spoke around her, through her, as if she were a piece of furniture. They would leave messes with a casual wave of the hand, knowing the help would clean it up. The thought of sitting at the same table with them, as an equal, was both terrifying and, in a strange way, exhilarating. "Ma'am, I don't think." "I insist," Eleanor said firmly. "I have laid out the blue dress for you. The one we bought last spring. Please, go and change. It's time they saw you, really saw you." An hour later, the drawing room was filled with the scent of Earl Grey and Beatrice's expensive, cloying perfume. "Eleanor, darling, you simply must tell me where you found this blend," Beatrice trilled, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. "My last shipment from London was utterly subpar. And the scones." "Divine," Constance added, dabbing her lips with a linen napkin, a gesture of performative delicacy. Margaret, ever the pragmatist, was busy dissecting the latest stock market tremor. They were a flock of perfectly coiffed peacocks, oblivious to the world beyond their gilded cage. The door opened. Amina entered. Silence fell like a guillotine. Beatrice's monocle, which she wore for dramatic effect, nearly dropped into her teacup. Constance's perfectly powdered face was a mask of disbelief. Margaret simply stared, her mouth slightly agape. "Amina," Eleanor said, her voice ringing with a warmth that was conspicuously absent when she addressed her friends. "Please, have a seat." She gestured to the empty chair beside her, the seat of honor. Amina walked across the Persian rug, her steps measured and confident. She inclined her head slightly toward Eleanor in a gesture of respect before taking her seat. She did not look at the other women, but she could feel the heat of their collective stare. "This is Amina," Eleanor replied calmly, pouring a cup of tea. "She has been a part of this household for 5 years. I thought it was high time she joined us." "Joined us?" Constance sputtered. "But she's the housekeeper." The word hung in the air, heavy and ugly. Amina sat with a straight back, her hands resting calmly in her lap. She remembered her grandmother's words, spoken in a language these women would never understand: "Dignity is a crown you wear on the inside. Let them see only its shadow." Eleanor, however, was relentless. "Amina, have you ever been to the coast?" she asked, deliberately drawing her into the conversation. Before Amina could answer, Beatrice cut in. "Oh, I'm sure the beaches on, wherever she's from, are quite different. All that sand, it must be a nightmare to clean." Amina met Beatrice's gaze for the first time. Her eyes were not angry, but ancient and knowing. "The beaches are beautiful," she said, her voice a low, melodic hum. "And the sand is a part of the earth. We do not see it as something to be cleaned, but as something to be respected." The directness of the response, devoid of the deference they expected, threw them off balance. Constance, attempting to regain control, turned the conversation to heritage. "My family came over on the Mayflower, you know," she announced, a statement she made at least once per gathering. "Our lineage is a matter of public record." "How fascinating," Eleanor said, her tone dry. She then turned to Amina. "And what about your family, Amina? Tell us about your home." This was the moment. The air crackled with anticipation. The 3 women leaned in, their faces a mixture of morbid curiosity and smug superiority, ready to hear a tale of poverty and provincial life that would reaffirm their own sense of importance. The women exchanged glances. It was an interesting, if irrelevant, history lesson. Beatrice let out a short, sharp laugh. "An elephant? You mean a king? Oh, that's rich. A princess for a housekeeper. Eleanor, you've truly outdone yourself." My apologies," she stammered, looking at Amina with a newfound, terrified respect. We had no idea." Amina simply inclined her head. It was not forgiveness, but it was an acknowledgement. Eleanor Vance watched the scene unfold, a slow, satisfied smile spreading across her face. She had not done this to humiliate her friends, not entirely. She had done it to hold up a mirror. She had wanted them to see the chasm between their perceived status and true nobility. Amina, who scrubbed their floors and washed their teacups, possessed a quiet majesty that no amount of money could ever buy. The tea party ended soon after. The goodbyes were stilted and awkward. Beatrice and Constance couldn't meet Amina's eyes. Margaret offered another hasty, mumbled apology before practically fleeing the apartment. When they were gone, Eleanor and Amina sat in the quiet room, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows on the floor. "Well," Eleanor said, breaking the silence. "I don't imagine Beatrice will be boasting about her utterly subpar tea shipment for a while." Amina allowed a small, genuine smile to grace her lips. "Thank you, Mrs. Vance. For the tea. And for the opportunity." "No, Amina," Eleanor said, reaching across the table and placing her hand over Amina's. "Thank you. You reminded me that a crown is not something you wear on your head. It's something you carry in your soul." From that day on, nothing was the same. The Tuesday tea parties continued, but the guest list was often smaller. Beatrice and Constance found excuses not to attend. Margaret, however, kept coming. She was quieter, more thoughtful. She started asking Amina questions about her home, her culture, and her history, listening with a genuine desire to learn. Amina continued her work as a housekeeper, but the dynamic had irrevocably shifted. There was a new respect in the house, a quiet understanding. Sometimes, when she was polishing the silver, she would catch her reflection and see not a servant, but the daughter of the Oyo Empire, a princess in a foreign land, carrying the weight and the glory of her ancestors in the straightness of her spine and the calm, steady beat of her heart. She was living proof that true royalty could never be diminished by circumstance, only hidden for a time, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. Thank you for watching our story. We hope it moved you. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more incredible true stories that need to be told. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update.